always tracking, always alerting. This is Next Weather.
Everybody, Chief Meteorologist and Hurricane Specialist Cabrera. We are tracking the tropics tonight. We still have a couple of areas we're watching. One is right under my feet, but there's a new one now. Only a 10% chance of it developing with a broad circulation over the Yucatan once it heads over to the Bay of Campeche. But let's go back out east. We are looking at a developing system here. Chances continue to go up as the system is now pushing to the north and west. Just got an update from the Hurricane Center. So now at 90%, right? So, you know, it doesn't get to 100. When we get to 100, we have a tropical depression officially, and we'll have a cone, which this kind of looks like, but it really isn't. It's just the area where we're expecting this tropical wave technically to develop. And watch the clock and the spaghetti models here, as we call them, right? The forecast models continue curving this out. Some stay a little weaker and a little further to the west. So Puerto Rico and the islands will have to watch this. But generally, there's Bermuda, and this is going to hook up to the north, so we don't have to really worry about it too much. And that's the only really thing going on in the tropics, as you would expect things start quieting down this time of year. As we check in on our next weather radar, still tracking some showers. We had a couple of rumbles of thunder as well up towards Broward County. These storms tend to really get going into the late evening hours as opposed to the early part of the day when we don't have you know, enough instability over the water. So these storms are now fading as they push south and west. So they're in and they're out, but sometimes they do produce some locally heavy rainfall. We had that this morning, and we also had a little bit as the evening wore on. Tomorrow, very similar setup with the low still to our southeast and this boundary that's going to continue generating showers and storms before a front comes in and starts bringing in some drier conditions here. I think that'll happen by the time we get into the weekend, just in time. Rain chances tumbling 20 and 30, so that is looking good. Here's next on the rain tracker for the rest of tonight. Still tracking some showers. These will be flying through, fast moving, 20, 25 miles an hour. So they're in and they're out. Problem is they continue piling on, and so despite the fact that, you know, they're moving at a quick pace, so we don't worry too much about accumulation. When you get a good current like that, you do end up sometimes with a quarter of an inch of rainfall or even a little bit higher. There's your Wednesday continuing through with more of the same. It is a very similar setup. Back to the waters, continuing to see that rip current threats high tomorrow, and the conditions along the Atlantic waters and the Florida Keys. No alerts as of yet, but you can see conditions getting a little bumpier out there, light chopped and downright chopping conditions. And of course, our coastal flood advisory because of the king tides that continues. We'll do this again through Wednesday, and then we'll get out of this full moon cycle and we'll be in much better shape. Temperatures in the upper 80s down to the mid 80s, and those rain chances going up to about 60%. I think we'll peak there, and then we'll get that drier air coming in. I don't think it's going to drop temperatures too much or the humidity, but it will give us much lower rain chances for the weekend.
All right, Ivan, thanks much. And the Next Weather team, of course, making certain you're prepared for hurricane season. Scan the QR code on your screen and find all the tools you need to make sure that you're prepared. You can also find our 1-hour special there. Just go to cbsmiami.com.